I'm a 29-year-old woman, married to my husband Jake for 3 years, together for 6. We have what I thought was a solid relationship, good communication, shared values, the whole package. But there's always been one constant source of tension. His best friend since college, Madison. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, oh, here we go, jealous wife can't handle husband having female friends, trust me, this isn't that story. I love that my husband has close friendships. I've actively encouraged him to maintain his social circle. I have guy friends too. That's never been the issue. Madison, though, she's been a problem from day one, and not for the reasons you might think. When Jake and I first started dating, Madison was, let's say, skeptical of me. She'd make little comments about whether I was right for him, would bring up his ex at random times, and had this habit of planning one-on-one hangouts with Jake that coincidentally overlapped with plans he'd made with me. I tried to be understanding. Best friends can be protective, right? Especially when someone new enters the picture. So I made an effort, invited her to girls' nights, asked about her life, tried to build a genuine friendship. She remained ice cold, polite, sure, but with this underlying current of judgment, possession, I couldn't quite put my finger on it. When Jake proposed, Madison's reaction was telling. She congratulated us, but Jake mentioned she cried to him later about losing her best friend and how marriage changes everything. He reassured her nothing would change between them. Fast forward to married life. Madison became a fixture at our house. And I mean a fixture. She had a key for emergencies. She dropped by unannounced on weekends. She'd text Jake at 11 p.m. to vent about her dating life, and he'd be on the phone for an hour while I sat alone watching TV. Here's where things get weird. About a year into our marriage, I started noticing things. Small things that individually seemed innocent, but together painted a concerning picture. Madison would forget items at our house, a sweater, a phone charger, her AirPods, giving her reasons to come back. She'd text Jake to ask what he was up to, and when he'd say having dinner with my wife, she'd show up 30 minutes later because she was in the neighborhood and hadn't eaten. She started dressing differently around him. I'm not talking about looking nice. I mean wearing noticeably revealing clothing specifically when coming to our house, then acting like it was no big deal. The boundary violations escalated. She'd let herself into our house using her key when we weren't home to water the plants. We don't have plants that need daily watering. She'd rearrange things in our kitchen because it makes more sense this way. She'd comment on our decor choices, our grocery purchases, even our furniture. One time, I came home to find her doing our dishes, our dirty dishes, from that morning's breakfast. She just smiled and said, I wanted to help out. I told Jake I was uncomfortable with how often she was in our space. He said I was being unwelcoming and that this is just how their friendship worked. That she'd always been helpful like this. 3 months ago, I started working from home 2 days a week. Madison didn't know this. It was a new arrangement. On my second work from home day, I was in my office on a video call, muted and camera off during a presentation. Around 10 a.m., I heard our front door open. My blood ran cold. Jake was at work. We weren't expecting anyone. I heard footsteps. Light, familiar footsteps. Then I heard Madison's voice on a phone call. Yeah, he's at work obviously. I'm just grabbing something I left here. I stayed quiet, partly out of shock, partly because I was still technically in this meeting. I heard her moving around our living room, then our kitchen. Normal enough. Maybe she really did leave something. But then I heard footsteps going upstairs, toward our bedroom. I muted myself permanently and quietly left my office, my heart absolutely pounding. I crept down the hallway and heard sounds coming from our master bedroom. The door was open a crack. I looked in. Madison was in our bedroom, at Jake's dresser, going through his drawers, not frantically searching for something, organizing them. She was literally reorganizing my husband's clothing drawers. But it gets worse. She pulled out one of Jake's hoodies, the college one he wears constantly, and held it up to her face. She smelled it, like a long, deliberate inhale. Then she smiled to herself and put it on. She was standing in our bedroom, wearing my husband's hoodie, reorganizing his private drawers. I must have made a noise because she spun around and saw me. The look on her face wasn't embarrassment or shame, it was annoyance. Annoyance that I was home. "Oh my God, you scared me," she laughed, not even taking off the hoodie. "I didn't know you were here." I couldn't speak for a moment. I was processing what I'd just witnessed. "What are you doing in our bedroom, Madison?" She gestured casually at the drawers. Jake mentioned his dresser was a mess, so I thought I'd help organize it while I grabbed my sunglasses. "They're around here somewhere." "Your sunglasses are in our bedroom?" "I think I left them here last weekend when I used your bathroom. We have a guest bathroom downstairs. There is no reason she would have been in our bedroom last weekend." I told her firmly that she needed to leave. "Now, why are you being so hostile?" "I'm literally helping." "Madison, take off my husband's hoodie, leave this house and give me your key." Her face changed. The friendly mask slipped. "You're seriously going to do this? Over nothing?" Going through our private bedroom and wearing Jake's clothing isn't nothing. "The key. Now." She threw the hoodie on our bed dramatically, stormed past me, grabbed her purse, and slammed the key on the kitchen counter on her way out. "Jake is going to hear about this." "Oh, I was counting on it." I immediately texted Jake, "We need to talk tonight. It's about Madison. It's serious." His response? "What did you do?" "Not what happened." "Not, are you okay?" "But what did you do?" "That hurt." When Jake got home, I explained everything. Calmly, factually. The key used without permission, going through his drawers, wearing his hoodie, smelling it. His reaction? "That does sound weird, but Madison's always been quirky." Maybe she was genuinely trying to help and got carried away. "Did you have to take her key?" "That feels extreme." "Extreme?" "I caught another woman in our bedroom wearing your clothes." He called Madison to smooth things over. I could hear her on speaker, crying, saying I'd attacked her for trying to be helpful, and that she felt unsafe around me now. Jake looked at me like I was the problem. Over the next week, Madison launched a full campaign. She posted vague social media stories about toxic people who can't handle genuine friendship and controlling partners who isolate their spouses. Their mutual friends started reaching out to Jake, asking if everything was okay in our marriage. Jake's family, who adore Madison, called him concerned that I was changing him and pushing away his support system. I stood my ground. I told Jake, "Madison is not welcome in our home anymore. Period. He can see her wherever he wants, but she doesn't get access to our private space." He accused me of being jealous, insecure, and controlling. He said I was punishing Madison for being a good friend. He claimed I was trying to isolate him. Here's what he didn't address. Let herself into our home without permission and went through his personal belongings. I asked him point blank, "If one of my male friends had a key to our house, let himself in when you weren't home, went through MY drawers and wore MY clothing, would you be okay with that?" He went silent, then said, "That's different." "How?" "Because Madison isn't like that. She's not interested in me that way. We've been friends for 10 years. Here's the thing nobody knows yet. After that incident, I went through our security camera footage. We have a Ring doorbell and a camera in our living room for when we travel. I found 7 instances in the past 4 months where Madison let herself in when neither Jake nor I were home. She'd stay for 15 to 20 minutes each time, always going upstairs, always midday when Jake was at work. I saved all the footage. I also found something else. A few months ago, Madison posted a TikTok that went semi-viral, one of those romanticizing my life videos. In it, there's a 2-second clip of a kitchen that looks exactly like ours, with a coffee mug that I recognize as belonging to our set. She'd filmed content in our home, without our knowledge or permission, and posted it online. When I showed Jake the security footage, he went pale. He couldn't explain it away. He couldn't rationalize why his best friend was secretly entering our home repeatedly. But you know what he said? Maybe she was going through something and needed a quiet space. She knows we'd say yes if she asked, so she probably just didn't want to bother us. I'm sorry, what? I've given Jake an ultimatum. We go to couples therapy and he establishes firm boundaries with Madison, or I'm done. Not because of jealousy, because he refuses to protect our marriage and our home. He thinks I'm overreacting. He says I'm making him choose between his wife and his best friend. I'm not making him choose. I'm asking him to prioritize his marriage and acknowledge that Madison's behavior is inappropriate. But here's what's eating at me. Am I crazy? Everyone in his life is telling him I'm the problem. His mom called me controlling. Madison's friends, who I don't even know, have left comments on my Instagram calling me insecure. Jake's sister said I'm driving a wedge in their family. I'm starting to doubt myself. Maybe I should have handled it differently. Maybe taking her key was too extreme. Maybe I should have just had a calm conversation first. But then I remember her standing in my bedroom, wearing my husband's hoodie, having secretly entered my home, and I feel like I'm taking crazy pills that anyone thinks I'm the villain here. My own friends are split. Half say I'm completely justified. Half say I'm being territorial and should have given Madison the benefit of the doubt. So here's what I'm asking. Am I the asshole for telling my partner I no longer want their friend around our house? For taking back her key after catching her in our bedroom wearing his clothes? For refusing to smooth things over and just let this go? For drawing a hard boundary that everyone says is ruining my husband's most important friendship? Or is everyone else gaslighting me into thinking that another woman's secretly entering my home, going through my husband's belongings, and wearing his clothing is somehow normal friendship behavior? I don't know what's going to happen with my marriage. Jake and I have our first therapy session next week. He finally agreed, mostly because his brother told him how bad this looks. But I need to know, is my gut right? Or have I let my boundaries become walls? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And be honest, I can take it. I just need to know I'm not losing my mind here. Because right now, I feel like I'm fighting this battle completely alone.